Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, I sort of just want to pick up where we left off at when the battery went out on my camera. Hey, Jojo, want to come say hi to everybody? Yes, my sweetie. When the battery went out on my camera, when I was talking about knife sizes and where, you know, some things are intimidating or what types of things I like to carry or whatever. And with me, when I carry big knives, it's because there's a purpose for it. Because like if I go on long motorcycle rides and things like that, I like to carry a big knife that could be for everything. You know, it could be used like a camp. You know, I don't want to say use your big knives like camp knives or anything like that. But it can be used like that if it need be, or it could be a tool to repair your motorcycle or what have you. Or it could be self-defense or whatever you may need it for. I'd rather have a bigger knife in that case. And what I mean by bigger knife, I don't mean like giant knife. I mean like a knife with about at least like about like a 5 to 6 inch blade. That's what I would rather have. Oh, here comes Juno. She wants to come up and say hi. She gonna come up? There she goes. I knew she was gonna come up. Yes, my girl. She wants to come up and say hi to everybody. Yes, my sweetie. Yes, my sweetie. Okay, you said hi now. Now you can get down. You gonna get down? Oh, you want to run the show? You saying why you telling me to get down? Oh, she wants the video to be about Juno, Princess Juno. Oh, I'm sorry, Princess Queen Juno. That's right. I corrected the title, Queen Juno. That's right. You're Queen Bee of the house. Well, Queen Bee, you need to. Okay, sweetie, come on. You gotta get down, kiddo. That's my girl. All right. Yes, my sweetie. Okay, back to what I was talking about. For knives I like to carry every day, I like them to be, I don't know, you know, way back in the day, I always want my things to look super tactical all the time. But I don't know, I've gotten older, I guess, and I see how people react to different things. And for my everyday carry knife, I don't want it to have the kind of reaction on people if they happen to see it or whatever, that it freaks them out or they want to go tell somebody I got this in my pocket or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't want to create all that kind of drama. So I'd rather have something that looks peaceful. And I still like to carry black knives because I still like to carry knives that are easy to conceal and conceal extremely well. But the black knives I carry, I don't carry intimidating looking black knives. At least I don't think they're intimidating. And what I mean by not intimidating, most of the knives I carry that are totally blacked out nowadays are no bigger than 3.5 inch, don't have a blade length longer than 3.5 inches. This knife has a 3.5 inch blade, and this is my favorite knife to carry now. It was before this one was an aluminum one, but I've fallen in love with this one. Since I've had it and since I've set it up the way I want it, it's been in my pocket constantly. Absolutely love it. No blade play, everything's perfect in it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. John Demko, you rock, buddy. You rock. And also I noticed I had a couple bloopers in the previous video I made. It was Andrew Demko that doesn't like fold over. I've heard him say, I haven't heard him personally tell me. I've seen him say it in videos and in interviews. I always watch videos and interviews that have to do with Andrew Demko or John Demko because they always give out information on the knives and stuff that I'm interested in. And so I always watch their videos. But that's where I get the information from. He didn't tell me personally. But I've watched videos with him and he talked about how he doesn't like folded over pocket clips. He likes the pocket clips that leave a little bit of the knife handle exposed so it's easy to grab. And he likes, you know, like kind of pocket clips he's always used, you know, like the big heavy duty pocket clips and stuff. Which is cool, you know, that's his preference. You know, he likes, John Demko is all about performance. He's not about looks and stuff. And like for pocket clips, he prefers stainless steel pocket clips over titanium too, because he likes stainless steel. Like I said, you know, stainless steel is stronger metal than titanium. And you can temper it and do everything else right, and it's, you know, it's stainless steel. The titanium rocks too, though. You know, these titanium pocket clips I've been using from Lynch Northwest, I can't tell the difference between stainless steel and titanium, to tell you the truth. If this was stainless steel, I wouldn't know the difference. I mean, it's like, it looks sort of like stainless steel, but it's titanium. And they work perfectly. They retain the knife in your pocket perfectly, whether you ride motorcycles or whatever, and not to the point where it tears up your pants. So I mean, it's like just right. The tension on them is just right. Excellent knife. But anyway, these are the type of knives I like to carry nowadays for my EDC knives. When I say EDC, I mean everyday carry. And my everyday carry, I actually call them SDUEDC, self-defense, utility, everyday carry. That's what I call my knives. Those are the purposes they have to serve for me if they're going to be in my pocket. And this one's these 8020S models are presently my favorite knife. Presently my favorite knife. Before it was these, it was the 8020.5s. And then I got these. These are all a new knife experience for me for this year. If y'all don't know, I didn't have these last year. I had 8020.5s last year, but I didn't have this. I didn't have the S model. Well, actually, I did get my first S model. I think was in December last year. So yeah, and I think that was like the one I got for $200. And okay, wait a minute. I got two of them last year. I'm sorry. I got two of them last year because before I had the blue one, I had the gray one. The first one I got was the gray one with Griv-Ex handle scales and with the sheep's foot blade. I mean the shark's foot blade. And the second one I got was the blue one with Griv-Ex handles with the clip point blade. And both of them are the original style. This is the original style of the 8020S model too. And you can tell by the blade tanks when they're apart. This is the original one. The new ones have a milled out portion of the blade tang for the bearings. The old ones don't. They're just flat. So I have 3 old ones and 2 new ones. I have an L-Max and a M390. The L-Max Shark's Foot and the M390 Spear Point. Those are my 2 new ones, 2022 models. And the other one, all my other ones are the original models. But anyway, in D2. I actually love the D2. I don't have a problem at all with this D2 that's on these knives. I don't know. I haven't had any problems with rust or corrosion, and I've been using them. This one and the gray one and the not stainless steel, but the aluminum one I use. But anyway, let's get into some. Let's change up on the subject now. We've been talking about these for a while now, and it's time to move on to something different. Y'all know I love these, so we can set these aside and move on to something different. I just want to get old school, and since I've been talking about the reasons why I like to carry certain knives for certain purposes or whatever, let's talk about the big knives I like to carry. The big knives I like to carry, I call them basically my motorcycle knives. But these are the ones I carry all the time. I'll show you how I keep them too. I keep them in the drawer of my dresser, like that. So they're easy access. These are my knives I carry if I want to carry a big knife. Okay, let's talk about them a bit. First up, let's talk about my favorite big knife of all time. My favorite big knife of all time is this one. This knife has been with me just about on every major motorcycle run I've been on. This is the original Talwar, Oz 8. When they first came out, this is the first run of the Talwars. And I still carry it. I meant to replace it with the new Talwar, but the new Talwar, it goes in the fixed blade mode. I bought 2 new Talwars, one serrated and one plain H. Both of them go in the fixed blade mode, so I don't carry them. I try to return them and I didn't have the receipts or anything, so I couldn't prove where I purchased them at, and I couldn't, and that's a requirement by Cold Steel now. So I got stuck with them. They're still in my collection. I don't use them. I went back to using the Oz 8 one. I have CTS-XHP ones, but those things got so expensive I decided just to collect them. So I use this one. This one's the one I've always used. This one's been polished and resharpened, and all my buddies have played around with it. You know what I mean? This is a knife that I've had for a long time. I like it because it's really lightweight. I mean, it's like easy to manipulate in your hand. I love the Talwar. The Talwar rocks. It's absolutely one of my favorites. My other big favorite that I like, with the same type of blade sort of, but it's actually a new model that you can go out and get right now. You can't get these anymore, and if you can find them in good condition, they cost a lot. And I don't want to say that the older ones are better than the new ones, but none of my old ones have lock. You can go into lock blade mode. And I have Oz 8 ones, and I have them all the way up, you know, with plain edges, serrated edges. And then like the CTS-XPs, I got a whole bunch of different models of those, and custom ones I made, like all black ones, but anyway, those I'm saying, those I save for, you know, if the shit hits the fan. These are my everyday users. But if I want to carry a big knife, these are the knives I carry. But anyway, this is the new one that you can get, and they're fairly affordable too. They're like 120, 125 bucks. I see them all the time. I think this is an awesome knife for $125. This is a large Espada. Large Espada is the same size as the Talwar. It's got the same size blade. 5.5 inch blade. The Talwar is a full flat ground with a swedge across the top. This is a saber ground. Saber flat ground. It's a beautiful blade. This is Oz 10. My Talwar is Oz 8. This is better steel than Oz 8. But you know, for a self-defense knife, like I told somebody recently, it doesn't really matter if you got a super high-end steel or not. And in fact, you want a steel that can withstand impact. If you're going into big blades like this, you don't want a big blade with a brittle steel blade made out of brittle steel. Think about that. What's more important than a big fighting blade? Edge retention or toughness? What's more important to you? Me, myself, I don't want to be in a combat situation where I had to use a knife and the blade breaks or snaps on me because I hit something with it and it snapped. I wouldn't want that. I'd rather have it roll the edge or something, but the blade would still be intact and still be combat ready. So me, myself, I don't really know how important, you know, super duper edge retention is in a big combat blade. I think Oz 10 is an excellent steel for a big blade. I know Oz 8 is, you know, is a steel that they use in just about all the blades that you see in the old cold steel test. Most of those knives had an Oz 8 steel in them. So I know Oz 8 stuff. It's been proven. In Oz 10, the difference between this one and Oz 8 is that the edge retention's better. So I expect this to be a good steel for a big blade too, big self-defense knife, big self-defense folder like this. I think it should be an excellent steel. I'm not sure if S35VN is really the best steel for a big folder. I know when it's thick it's strong, but if it's not thick enough, it can be brittle. From, you know, I've seen, you know, SE knives, they snapped a, was it SE3? Doing some batoning, light batoning with it, and the blade snap is made of S35VN. I'm sure SE tempered it right, and you know, because SE, I think, what's the name? They get theirs heat treated by a person that's really good at heat treating. I forget the name. I'm sorry. I absolutely love this one. Absolutely love this one. Both of these have been carried a lot. This one's been carried a whole lot. I've been carrying this one for like 14 years, or not 14 years, maybe like 10 years. Whenever the Talwars came out, that's when I started carrying that one. And it's been modified and everything else. All the parts on the inside are polished. Okay, let me see. What's next on the agenda here? Next up would be. Actually, I should have did this one second, because I got this one the same time I got the Talwar. Way back in the day. And this is the inside the vest pocket. Inside the leather vest, I carry these in the gun pocket, inside of the leather vest or cut. Totally hidden. You'll never know I had it. Absolutely love the XL holdouts. These are awesome knives. This one's been totally polished too. This one I've had for, you know, as long as they've been existing. This is first run of them. I still carry the same knives now. And like the Talwars, I have a whole roll of holdouts. But when they stopped making the nice ones with all the different coatings and different things and different handle colors and stuff, I started collecting them, all the DLC ones. The Oz 8 ones are the ones I always carry. This one I use for cutting up. I also use it for like cutting up ribs and meat and stuff like that. If you want to cut up your barbecue or chickens or things like that. It's like a big giant folding chef's knife, if you ask me. And the Oz 8 works great for culinary work or food prep because it's easy to all you have to do is just like strop it or whatever, and it goes back to being razor sharp. It is a softer metal, so you will roll the edge if you hit something like a bone or something like that. But you know, usually it just rolls though, and you can strop it back out. This one's still razor sharp. Absolutely love it. Awesome knives. So like when I carry one of these, I always wear a vest or a leather jacket when I ride my motorcycle. I like to wear leather for protection. It's more than just style or whatever. Because I've been down on bikes before and I've been really badly hurt on bikes, and I know leather helps protect you when you go down. If you're just wearing jeans or something like that, you get jacked up. But that I always like to carry something like when I'm going on long rides. I'll carry like a pair, this pair or this pair. This one always rides on the inside, but it'll be one of these two that'll be in the front pocket. And this one's been on most of my rides with me because this knife is so broken in. It's like butter. I mean, it's one of my best operating knives. You know, you can't do that with a new one. You know, same thing with this one. This one's so broken in. It's like easy, you know, you can fidget with them if you want to. They've been used so much. This is the new one out the bunch. This one I've only had for a couple of years. These I've had for maybe 10 or 12 years. And it's getting there too. And all the knives I really like to carry, I polish them. I like to polish all the internals on them. Especially the old triad locks, because when you polish the triad locks and you get the bushings and everything all polished on them on the inside, you know, I'm not talking about where you remove metal, I'm talking about where you just make things smooth. So when they're metal to metal with a little bit of grease on them, they're super smooth. But you have to do that. And if you don't do that, then they'll just be, you know, regular triad locks. But a triad lock is a very smooth operating lock when it's totally polished and everything. I think that's something that maybe they should do from the factory. I know it probably costs a lot more though, because then people would have to invest time into it, because it's something that you can't do quickly, and you have to pay attention to what you're doing, because if you take off too much metal off the surface, you can ruin the lock face or something like that. So you gotta be really careful. I have messed up a lot of knives when I first started doing it. But I used to always get like junk knives off of eBay, and you know, junk like old triad lock knives that were beat up or whatever for 15, 20 bucks. And then I would work with them and try to repair them and try to refurbish them. That's how I self-taught myself how to do that. But you know, like once you figure it out, and the most important thing is not to remove a lot of metal. You want to keep everything pretty much stock. You just want to make things smooth. As soon as you get to the point of smooth, you need to stop. Don't try to go further than that. Next one up. These are progression of my triads. Actually, this one's before this one too, because I've had this one a long time. This is a what do you call this? A BD1 blade, and I've had these since they were Oz 8s. Also, I've always had a Counterpoint XL as long as they've been existing. I have 3 or 4 of them now, because I have a new Oz 10 one also. But that one's totally stock. And these are, when you get them stock, at least every one I had, have received, it locks up perfectly tight and everything. No, what do you call it, fixed blade mode or anything like that. It's just that the spring tension and everything on them is so hard that they're not easy to operate. So they need to be tuned too. And I don't want to tell you guys how to do it, because if you don't do it right, you mess them up. But you have to tune them. At least the ones I have, I like to tune them. Like this one, I don't know if you can see it. It's been totally polished everywhere. The liners are even polished. This has 6061 heat-treated aluminum liners. Just like the Voyager's. My Voyager's not out here. My Voyager's not, that is in my car, so. I have a XL Voyager that I keep in my bug out bag, and right now that's my Tonto Voyager. That's one I used to like to carry all the time, but my Barong Voyager I loaned out to Lucky. So that's the one that usually sits in my bug out bag. Absolutely love these. I always wish that they would make this one a G10 handle scales. They never did. This one needs to have G10 handle scales. I think if it had G10 handle scales, oh man, it'd be a rock star. Absolutely love it. This is like a big stiletto on steroids. It's got that nice big bayonet stiletto style blade. That's just looks like it's on steroids. And you know what? There's even one more before this one. But actually, no, but I've been having these ever since the beginning too. But the one I've had ever since the beginning, the Oz 8 one's not out here. This is my newest one. So where would the Oz 8 one go? The Oz 8 one would go down here, because first was the Espadas, and I had the Oz 8 Espada before I had a Talwar, before I had this Talwar, and before I had the holdout. So I'm going to put that one down there. It's going to represent the progression of the way that I bought these. This one would be here. Next one up would be my Frenzy. This one I like to carry. I've carried it in my front pocket, inside my vest. I love this knife because it only weighs 5.6 ounces. It's super lightweight for how big it is. Look how long that blade is. You got a 5.5 inch blade and a knife that's only weighing 5.6 ounces. To me, this blade was designed after a helmet. Was it a helmet break? A Japanese helmet breaker or something like that. And but to me, the way Andrew Demko designed it, it's a modern day version of a modern style of a stiletto. I love it. I love this one. This is the only one I have that's modified. I have a few others I've left totally stock. And if something ever happens to this one, then I can modify one of those. Okay, sweetie, you have to get down. You can't wait to see yourself on the TV, huh? Mm-hmm. I know what you're up to. Let me set this down, sweetie. Okay, all these sharp blades up here. You gotta come down, kiddo. That's my girl. All right. Well, these are all of my big triad folders I like to carry. I think the best lock for a big, heavy-duty folding combat folder, whatever you want to call it, self-defense folder, intimidating folder. You know, for the art of practicing, you know, fighting without fighting. You know, you whip this out, you scare people away, and they don't want to fight you no more. This is practicing the art of fighting without fighting. That's what these are good for. They're very intimidating. When people see these, you know, that you see the fear in their eyes. It's like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? So I would say these are the type of knives I was talking about when I was saying that these aren't the kind of knives I want to carry every day. Number one, they're big. Number two, they're heavy. Number three, you can't pull them out in public anywhere. Because if you pull one of these things out in public, somebody, believe me, they're going to call security on you. Or, you know, somebody's going to get scared or whatever, and they're going to, you know, they call 911 or do something. I don't know. You know, the way people do nowadays, you know, they get all freaked out when they see something, you know, because there's been so many, you know, mass shootings and mass stabbings and killings or whatever in our country. So people freak out when they see stuff like this nowadays. So I don't recommend carrying something like this as an everyday carry. These are special carries. You know, if you're going into a combat zone, if you're going into a survival situation, if you're going on long trips on your motorcycle and you want some extra security, you know, for just in case, you know what I mean? You know, and because you don't know what, you don't know, you know, you're going to areas that maybe you've never been to before or whatever, you know, so you just feel like you feel a little bit better if you got some extra security. I know, that's why I am. I always like to have security because I know how much evil there is out there. And when you don't have security, evil will take advantage of you. Because evil does things that are weaker than itself. Evil doesn't like to attack things that are as strong as it is. Evil likes to attack things that are weaker than it is. That's the way I sort of look at things. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's my philosophy. Okay, now the one knife that outdates all of these and got me into liking all of these knives from Cold Steel and Andrew Demko. These are all Andrew Demko knives, by the way. Every one of these is an Andrew Demko knife. I don't know if you guys really notice that. I love Andrew Demko knives. And even though he's left Cold Steel and he's back on being totally on his own now, I don't know if you noticed, but I tend to gravitate to his knives because Andrew Demko makes the best knives. I mean, when it comes to strong locks, you know, that's what's important to me because I've been cut up by a knife with a weak lock before. So strong locks are important to me because I don't like getting cut up by my tool. And he makes knives with the best locking systems. He makes knives that are not only strong, but they can be lightweight too. I don't know if you ever noticed, like every other knife maker that there is, when they make a knife that's considered to be extremely strong, it's also extremely heavy. All these knives are lightweight. All these knives, you know, weigh, like this one's like 7.2 ounces, this one's 5 point something, this one's like, I think it's 8 ounces. This is a heavier one, like 8.5 ounces or something like that. And this one is like 7.8 ounces or something like that. And this was like 8.2 or 8.3 or something like that. But for their size, they're fairly light. And the one that turned me on to all of them, this is the one I carry presently, is a Cold Steel Ti-Lite. And the first one I had was at a 4-inch blade. It had a titanium handle. That's where the original Ti-Lites were made with titanium handles. And then titanium got expensive and they switched over to the 7075 aluminum. And they call it Zytel, or Zy-X. I think that's what Cold Steel calls it, Zy-X. Because these aren't Griv-Ex, these are supposed to be Zy-X, or Zytel or something. Like they made with the same kind of plastics that they use with the original Cold Steel Voyager knives and folders. And from like about the mid to late 80s to the early to late 2000s, they were using Zy-X and Zytel in all their knives. That was what they used pre-Griv-Ex. This one's got the Oz 10 Serrated crisp blade. I love it. Is that wicked or what? You know that's gonna cut. Absolutely love them, people. Absolutely love them. Well, these are my knives. these are the ones I carry if I want to carry a big knife in the city. Now, if the shit hits the fan, excuse my French there, bet you all know what I'm talking about. I have pretty much all these. I have this one all black, all blacked out Espadas. You know, from XL Espadas to the large Espada to the medium Espada. All the Espadas I have them totally blacked out versions with DLC coating. I have this one totally blacked out also. I had a custom build it myself. I swapped parts around with different knives and made a totally blacked out set of Talwars. The XL Talwar and the large Talwar set that are totally blacked out. I have totally blacked out sets of the holdouts. And I've totally blacked out Ti-Lite 6s too. Those are pretty much the ones I would carry if the blank hits the fan. Those would be my big choices. They don't make this one with the DLC coating, so I never was able to make this one all blacked out, by swapping parts around. Same thing with the Frenzy. So my shit hit the fan knives are the Espadas, the Talwars, and the holdouts, and the Ti-Lite 6s. But those are my choices for big knives. I know they make Rajas. I have those too. But the thing I don't like about the Raja is it's just too heavy. I love the knife though. Don't get me wrong. I love a kukri. Kukris are badass. Those are badass blades, but the Raja is just too heavy for me to carry. As y'all know, I got a flat behind and posterior portion of my physical anatomy, and heavy things will pull down my pants. I always have to constantly be retighten my belt or pulling my pants up or whatever. I don't like doing all that. And when I go past like about 8 ounces, that's when I start having that issue all the time. So I tend to like big knives that are super light. And these are like the lightest. Let's see how much these weigh. Let's weigh them real quick. We got time. All right. Let's weigh them real quick. Just to let you guys know. This is the Espada. This is heavier than the Talwar. 9.3 ounces. Oh, it's heavier than I thought it was. 9.3 ounces. The Talwar. Talwar is the same size, and to me, it handles better in the hand. To me, the Talwar is lighter than the Espada, and to me, it's a faster in hand knife. And I like the handle better because the handle you grip it up here, or it also has comfortable grip in the rear grip too. I mean, like really, secure, strong grip in the rear grip. So that extends this knife out even further. This one has a beautiful grip also. I really wish I had my Voyager out here so I could show you that one too, because that's my other one I really like. But this one has a good grip in the rear grip also. And I love knives I can extend my grip like that and have a real strong, secure grip. But anyway, let's weigh this one. .8. This one was 9.3. So it's close to 1.5 ounces heavier than the Talwar. And they're the same size. This one Talwar has the better grip. The Espada has a more heavy duty blade than the Talwar though. Both of them are 4 millimeters thick. But this one's ground full flat ground, this one's a saber ground blade. So this is a heavier duty blade than the Talwar blade. But the Talwar blade is meant to be able to be a fast knife, I think, in my opinion. The holdout, 6.9 ounces. That's what I was talking about. I like big knives that are lightweight. This one you can carry and not have any issues at all. I think even Snaggletooth makes wave things for these too, if I'm not mistaken. So they'd be waved out your pocket if you want to set it up like that. The Counterpoint XL, 8.5 ounces. Good, beautiful weight for this size of knife. Beautiful weight. Okay, here goes the king of the lightweights. The Frenzy. I love my Frenzy. 5.6 ounces. 5.6 ounces. That's the lightest one. So this one, these are all my stiletto style knives. But I call stilettos, big stilettos. I know people debate that or whatever. You know, that's okay. That's cool. You can say whatever you want to. I call them stilettos. 7.1 ounce. 7.1 ounce. There they are there, people. These are the knives I like to carry when they're big. And you can see why I'm saying that I don't want to pull one of these out, you know, carry one of these as like an everyday carry. And, you know, because my everyday carries, sometimes I do need to pull them out in front of other people to, you know, like to do food prep or whatever. And I want to look, you know, like I'm carrying a big giant knife. You know, I work in an urban environment, so, you know, it's like I can't have something too scary because you bring, you know, to bring the wrong kind of attention. I don't like the wrong kind of attention. Back in the day when I used to just ride motorcycles all the time and, you know, clubbing and stuff like that, I used to carry one like this all the time. This was the knife I carried all the time. It was a Ti-Lite 6. But when I was clubbing, it was like pretty much pre-triad time. The you know, in between 2000 and 2010. And when the Ti-Lite 6 came out, this was my knife. I carried it all the time. I gave it to the president. The president used to like my knife, and I gave him one. But this was my knife. And I still love the Ti-Lite 6. I've always loved stilettos. And to me, the Ti-Lite 6 is the nicest stiletto in the world. I have Italian stilettos in my collection and everything else like that. The only one I don't have that I've always wanted to get was a Latimer. But I have, you know, the Beltramis, I have the AKCs, the Angelo Capolons, and I even have, you know, German kissing crane stiletto collection. And to me, the best stiletto is this one. It's the strongest, it has the best steel, because most stilettos don't have good steel. It has good steel, it has a super strong lock. This fold over lock, leaf spring on these, I've seen it tested. What happens even when they do fill, the knife doesn't fold in, the lock goes all the way over to the other side, and it totally goes into lock blade mode or fixed blade mode. But this folded over lock, steel leaf spring, stainless steel leaf spring lock is a strong liner lock. I would say, you know, the strength wise it's more comparable to like a frame lock knife, as opposed to like your standard liner lock, unfolded over liner lock. Because when it folds over, it covers a lot of the blade tang, and that's where the strength comes from. Most liner locks only cover a little portion of the blade tang. And so when this one gets too much pressure on it, it slides over this way instead of sliding back this way and becoming loose and undone. These are excellent knives. And they're not expensive. This is like a $50 or $60 knife or something like that. It's not an expensive knife. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I know the Ti-Lite 6s with the Zytel handles or Zy-X handles, they're not that expensive. When you get with the aluminum handles or the G10, then they get expensive because then you get better steels and everything else like that. This one's Oz 10. All right, people, well, that's about it for that. I'm going to cut it off here. Put this one out for you guys tonight. Hope everybody's doing good out there. I know everybody likes to see the big knives. And after, you know, showing so many knife videos with my other favorites, the new Demkos, and I just want to show, you know, knives that I've always liked. And these, you know, I don't want people thinking that I'm against big knives. I love big knives, but I think big knives are more like purpose oriented. Unless you live in an area that's like rural or something like that, where they don't have all the knife blade restrictions and everything like that. See, where I live, we have a 4-inch blade restriction. Anything longer than 4 inches, in some areas where I live, it's 3.5 inches. If anything's longer than 3.5 inches or 4 inches, they consider it a dangerous weapon, and if police catch you with it, if they want to, they can confiscate it from you. That's what happens. I've had 2 knives confiscated. But so that's the reason why I don't like to carry around the big knives in the city. I used to do that, but I don't do it anymore because I don't like losing stuff. And then, you know, like if you carry something that's like a 4-inch blade or 3.5-inch blade, if you're a nice guy and the police officer doesn't have attitude and stuff like that, they don't care. It's sort of like a tool that they can use if they want to be, you know, whatever. But anyway, that's it for that. Peace out, Stiletto.